Oh, good morning, guys. I'm currently on the top of a mountain, as you can see here. I just wanted to come on here and make a quick video. Landing up here is actually really freaking fun. This is like the 4th or 5th place I've landed this morning. We have like this perfect breeze from the water, so I just can't help myself when you have, conditions that are perfect and optimal. But I'm ripping around on a Limitless frame with a Monster 185 plus and a Scirocco 18 meter or Scirocco 318 meter. Excuse the helmet hair, you know how it goes. But in today's video, I just wanted to briefly talk about something that's been on my mind, and that is, how dangerous are paramotors really? And the answer is not what you want. The answer is not what you expect. It entirely depends on you, the pilot. This, I argue, whenever someone asks me, it is safer for me to fly this than it is for me to drive to my LZ. It takes me about a half hour to drive there. I pass people on the highway at like 70 miles, or I pass people on a 2-lane road, going 70, they're going 70, that's 140 miles an hour past each other with 3 feet of room. That is far more dangerous. If you look at the statistics, driving a car is so much more dangerous than flying a paramotor. But how dangerous is it really? Well, it entirely depends on you. Like, if you're going to be the kind of guy that just wants to go up, cruise around, you're going to get good training, you're going to fly safe equipment, and you're just going to take it easy, you're going to manage risk, there's very, very, very little risk of injury. But if you're going to be the guy that you're going to go out there and in 10, 20 hours, you're going to be ripping around low, doing low acrobatic maneuvers, flying in crazy conditions, in environments that you shouldn't be flying in, on a wing that you're so not ready for, well, you're putting yourself at a whole lot more risk. It really just comes down to you as a pilot. And I'm a big advocate of, staying on a wing that's maybe a little on the safer side. People are quick to want to jump from one wing to another. You get like 10, 20, 30 hours, all of a sudden you want to be ripping around on like the crazy acrobatic wing. And it's like, no, man, no. Stay on the safer wing, learn to understand it, fly it, because it's far more capable than what you think it is. And don't progress like absurdly fast. People's first instinct is like, hey man, I need to quickly, get up to speed so I can do all the cool stuff. No, there should be no rush on like how fast you progress. There should be no rush on like, hey, in 10 hours you got to be doing a sat or you're not cool. Like, no, that's just not the case. Like, take your time. You have to be willing to stay in it for the long haul. This is a sport that if you do it right, you can fly your entire life, all the way into your older years. And if you play it safe, you'll never get hurt. Knock on wood, I've been flying for 10 years. I'm sure you've seen the videos. I fly like an absolute madman. I've never been injured. I've, hit the ground twice. I've had 2 gnarly crashes, both pilot error, both situations that I was signing up for, as in I was putting myself in those situations intentionally, and neither one I got hurt, thankfully. But if you manage risk appropriately, if you're cautious, if you're safe, if you fly in a manner where you're not going to hurt yourself or put yourself in situations where you can hurt yourself, this thing is safe, man. This thing is so safe, so much safer than you would think, I should say. And it's also completely life-changing. And people like laugh when you say that, because everyone says, this will change your life, this will change your life. And like 95% of the time, that's complete bogus. But here's the reason why I say this completely changes your life. Because you get into it, pretty soon you plan all your vacation days around flying trips, vacation days around going and flying with your buddies. Pretty soon you want to buy a camper or RV or a van and live in it full time and live at your LZ and just go fly. Pretty soon the only thing that consumes your mind, your attention, your thoughts are paramotors. And I say that not because I'm trying to pitch you anything, but because like 90% of the people that I know that have gotten into this around me have gone down that similar path. One of my closest buddies sold his business, moved across the country. He lives in a camper in a dirt field just so he can wake up and fly every morning. And he loves it. There's nothing he wants to do more than flying. So one of the things that I also really want to press on this video is risk management. It's easy to push risk way faster than you expect. Landing up here pushes my risk envelope farther. Flying in these conditions pushes my risk way, way farther. Just cruising around, that's low risk. And there's ways to manage and lower that risk exponentially just in where you put yourself, the altitude that you fly at, how high you are when you do those maneuvers, how hard you pull, how fast you progress. who you get additional instruction from. All of those things can make a big difference. You know, one thing that I think isn't pushed enough in the industry is seeking additional help after your first class. You know, some people call it like a mentor or, you know, someone else to help you. You need to go and get additional training. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. There's always more to learn. Even myself, man, there are some people that I would love to spend a week with just flying all day, every day, because I can only imagine how much I would learn. And I would happily pay a lot of money to do it. And you should have the same thought process and mindset of like, how can I get additional help? Who can I come to? Who can I spend time with? Who can I, you know, pay for instruction? At the end of the day, guys, you know, the people that are really in this sport, that are really good, that are running a business, their time is money. If you really want their help, you got to pay for it. Don't be scared to pay someone to get additional help, because you get what you pay for. If you pay someone to help you, they're far more inclined to help you than if you just ask for freebies. If you just show up and want to fly with them here and there on their free time, man, they're not going to be as inclined to help you. But if you pay them for instruction, they're so much more inclined to help you. I shouldn't have to tell you that. That goes with everything. If you want help, if you want help and you pay for it, you're going to get better help than if you ask for free help, unless it's a close friend. But you got to learn to manage that risk, guys. You got to learn to try and bring that risk envelope down. And there's another thing in this industry that's become pretty prevalent, and it's gotten a lot of people injured, and that's called low acro. You know, a lot of people love to play low, myself included. I'm probably more guilty than anybody else. I mean, I pushed the envelope really hard low, like really, really hard low. And thankfully, it never bit me in the butt. But I know two people who were really close to me that it did. Trying to fly just like I was. You know, they were going out trying to fly like I fly, and it bit them in the butt. And you know, I'm guilty as someone who makes content and is maybe a little more well-known of promoting and posting videos, showing off and doing all those low acrobatic maneuvers that just encourage, you know, the people that are getting into this sport to want to do it too. And the reality is, you know, the thing is if you have to do that to get joy flying this aircraft, you're doing something wrong. Low acro is fun. Low acro is something that I'm not going to stop doing. It's not like I'm saying you have to completely cut it out. But there is a time and there is a place and there are conditions and there are environments in which you do it in. And there's a time and a place and conditions and environments you don't do it in. Like if you're at a flying and there's 300 people and you're out there and you're a 50-hour pilot and you think you're the hot stuff and you want to show off to the good guys. And you go out there and you rip the low acrobatic maneuvers. The guys that are really good, the ones that have been in it a long time, they're not impressed. You know, if you go rip those really hard maneuvers and you look like you're absolutely freaking out of control, just yanking and banking, I could tell real quick. And I know a lot of other people who are really good that could tell just the snap of the fingers. You're not impressing us. You're making us nervous. You know, you're not showing how great you are. You're showing how dumb you are. If you want to go and you want to rip like that at home, your home LZ, no one's around, by all means, do it. But if you're going to go and you're going to rip around, you're going to yank and you're going to bank and you're going to crank and spank right in front of me, please don't. Please kindly F off, because I don't want to see that. Because if I watch you crash, not only is it going to change your life and affect your life, it's going to affect mine. Because I just watched you crash. I just watched you barrel into the ground. I just watched you get hurt. Now I have to deal with that emotional trauma myself. And we're all emotional human beings, except some. So please, please, please understand when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate. And I try and be a big advocate as well of talking about like when you're on your game and when you're not on your game. Because this one is also a thing that I really press hard when you're at my training class. That is like understanding where you are. Because sometimes I go and fly and I'm trying to do my normal thing and I'm just completely out of it. And I could tell I'm out of it like right away because my turns aren't as sharp, or maybe I'm not diving right, or something is off in the way that I'm flying. The moment I identify that, I stop doing those maneuvers. You have to be willing to like manage where you are as a person. Like, how are you performing? I'll give you an example and something maybe you can resonate with a little bit more. I was riding motorcycles with my buddy. First day of the year, okay? Give you a little perspective. We're the kind of guys that ride really fast. We drag knee, we pop wheelies. We're the crazy hooligans that you see on the street. Not going to say we're good, but we can drag knee pretty freaking well. Anyways, we go out, we rip our favorite road. It's, again, the first day of the year. And I'm leading the pack. And I could tell there's a lot of pressure to be going fast because my buddy is right behind me. He's like right on my tail. And every time I check my mirror, I see him like right there. And I get this like pressure. I feel like, oh man, he's making fun of me because I didn't touch my knee there. There's this pressure to go faster. Let me twist the throttle just a little bit more. Finally, because I fly this, and this is something that I talk about regularly and talk to others about, I'm like, okay, cool. How about you go in front of me? I'm going to slow down. I'm going to hold back, and I'm going to do my pace. You do your pace. So I let him pass me, right? 2 turns later, he crashes. He slides off the side of the road. He was just fine. His bike was fine. He just overestimated his ability. And you have to like understand, hey, although I was flying like that then, doesn't mean I can fly like that now. Take a survey of how you're performing in that moment in time and understand when it's time to push and when it's not. And also, there's outside variables. My buddy being right behind me watching just encouraged me to want to just go a little bit faster. Thankfully, I did not want to crash, so I let him, I understood that, I accepted that, I changed how I performed. And anytime like I come out and I fly and my mom comes and watches, or my dad, and they come and they're watching, you just feel this pressure to like overperform. You feel this pressure to fly a little bit harder. You feel this pressure to like be cooler than just being the guy that goes and freaking flies. And let me remind you that just flying alone is cool to 99% of people out there. There's a small sliver of people in this world that know how cool a wingtip drag is and know how cool the loop is. The 99% of people, dude, they're just stoked to watch you take off, fly around, and come down and land. So don't forget that. As soon as a camera turns on or a crowd stops to watch, don't feel the need to push the limits. Anytime I feel that kind of pressure, I fly at 50%. I'm like, okay, I could tell there's a crowd. Let's tone it down to 50%. And then I can work up if needs be, if it's the right situation and environment. Like I'm going to start slow and climb progressively and slowly. Not going to go out and just touch a wingtip the first try. I'm not going to go out and just throw the loop down at 20 feet. I'm not going to do any of that stupid stuff. I'm going to start slow and progressively work up to it. Same thing applies for me when I'm at like Salton Sea. See, whenever I go to Salton Sea, which if you don't know what that is, it's a big fly-in once a year that they do down in Southern California at a lake called Salton Sea. Anytime I fly there, the first few flights, man, do I feel the eyeballs, because there's like 500 people there. Like I go to launch, I'm like, a little nervous, I'm anxious, like everybody's watching, don't blow the launch, you got to impress all the homies. So the first couple of flights, anytime I go to an event like that, you know what I do? Dude, I just cruise. It's a gentle launch, it's a go up, it's a cruise around, just, take in the scenery, take in the environment, work through those nerves. Takes me about 10, 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes that's 2-3 flights. Then as soon as I've worked past that and I feel like I'm back to my normal state, my normal self, then I could go back to doing the wing overs and stuff. I don't actually wingtip drag anymore. I don't think the reward is worth the risk. And that's another thing about that risk-reward factor. Like how much risk is worth the reward. You know what I mean? Wingtip drag isn't worth it to me. Low acrobatic maneuvers, there's times where absolutely. But I've toned it back like 50% because barely missing by 2 inches, although it has a slightly higher reward, is not worth the slightly higher risk of missing by 5 feet, 10 feet. So I've just toned it down, and I want to take it easier. And this is my message to you of like, hey, maybe you should take it easier. Maybe you hear this and you understand, and this process is in your mind, and you realize sometimes you don't have to push the limit so much. Sometimes you could just enjoy the flight. Anyways, guys, this is it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button or the dislike button. I don't care what you hit. Comment if you feel like it or not. And I'll see you guys in the next video.